billion for the April-June quarter. That report comes a day after crosstown rival SK Hynix reported record earnings. More on these stories, townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Good morning, and welcome to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are indeed broadcasting live from our studios in Nashville, Tennessee. It's a wonderful day. Why? Because here in studio, the original all-star panelist, the one, the only, Crom Carmichael. Welcome, Crom.
Greetings, kind sir.
We're always happy to see you here.
Well, thank you.
Always here, hour one of Thursday.
There we go.
All right, Crom, you ready for it? It's time for the Morning Rundown. Here we go. The Morning Rundown is brought to you every weekday at this time by our very good friends at the Glock Store, glockstore.com, located just a few miles from the airport, right here in Nashville, Tennessee. So here we go, the Morning Rundown for Thursday, July 30th, 2026. Number one, Fauci Fifth Amendment fallout. Will he face legal consequences? And what's the bigger picture? Crom, you're going to talk about the bigger picture in a bit. At the bottom of the hour, legal expert Phil Klein, professor of law, former attorney general for the state of Kansas, will join us. What's next legally? Number two, the U.S. bombed Iran again. More of the same quasi-stalemate. So we'll see how that kind of continues. Number three, this is big news for us, Crom. Do you remember 2 weeks before his death, Charlie Kirk flew over to South Korea, and he met with a pastor, Son Hyung-bo. And that's a Christian pastor who'd been imprisoned for basically, reasons that seem crazy to us. Son Hyung-bo will be here in studio with us.
Oh, wow.
In hour two.
Oh.
At the bottom of hour two.
Okay.
And he'll be here also with Rob McCoy, the pastor who is very closely associated with Charlie Kirk.
Okay.
And he's got a message about what's going on in South Korea. It's of great concern. So Rob McCoy is number four. Number five, Clint Brewer will be here in hour two, public affairs specialist. And number six, you're going to love this, Julie Kelly. You know who Julie Kelly is, right?
Yep.
That covers reports all on the J6 craziness. Her husband is John Kelly. John Kelly's family has lived in Chicago for well over 100 years. They've been very much involved in Chicago. And Julie and John live in Chicago. John Kelly has announced he's running for mayor of Chicago. He's got a Spencer Pratt type video.
What year is that election?
It's next year.
Next 27.
Yeah, 27.
Off year.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So he started now.
Okay.
But look, we need sanity.
Chicago is a disaster. I mean,
yeah.
you know, about the stores, the Walmart first closed 5 stores because the city wouldn't work with them, and then the Save-A-Lot closed 7 stores all at once.
Yeah, it's just crazy. So there you go, Crom. That is the Morning Rundown.
That's a good one.
For Thursday, July 30th, 2026. Crom, it's brought to you by our friends at the Glock Store. Now, Crom, I've been telling
Big event coming up.
Yeah.
Big. Yeah.
I've been telling everybody about the O-Site August events at the Glock Store for the past couple weeks.
Yeah.
Now, the big deal is the O-Site VIP Experience Friday.
That's sold out.
1 week from tomorrow, August 7th. It's sold out.
That's sold out.
But hey, good news is you can get some hands-on with the latest in O-Site optics. Just make plans to attend the free O-Site Day Saturday. Free.
Yeah.
Saturday, August 8th at the one and only Glock Store. It will have hands-on range time, great O-Site giveaways, exclusive in-store discounts, free O-Site swag. O-Site swag. You haven't had swag.
Unless you've O-Site.
Food trucks, Americana.
Yeah.
The O-Site Fun starts at 9 a.m. Saturday, August 8th, goes till 6 p.m. It's a long time, so save the date. That's O-Site Saturday, August 8th, only at the Glock Store, minutes from the airport here in Nashville, and worth the drive from anywhere. So there you go. All right, Crom, I want to get to this news about John Kelly running for mayor of Chicago. Of course, you know that crazy leftist nutcase Brandon Johnson is the mayor.
Yeah.
He's a character right out of a George Orwell novel. it seems to me. But John Kelly, this is the kind of guy, I mean, if you think of John Kelly, you think of, Mayor Richard Daley. You think of guys that, keep the city safe. You think of guys that get the garbage cleaned up and have good schools. Let's watch this clip right now, Crom. This is the announcement of John Kelly running for mayor of Chicago.
Chicago used to be known as the city that works. Not anymore. It's early evening. I'm on the L, and it's almost empty because Chicagoans are afraid to ride the train at night. That's not a city that works. I'm John Kelly, and I'm running for mayor of Chicago because keeping people safe should be the mayor's #1 priority. We used to have about 400 police officers riding the trains. On my first day as mayor, I'm going to start putting them back. There are 154 police officers on Mayor Johnson's security team. I'm going to cut that by 75% and put 100 more police officers on the trains immediately. I'll hire more police, and after my first year in office, we're going to have 1,000 more police officers on the streets. The city budget is now $17 billion. We can afford to hire enough police officers to keep the train safe. I'm also going to bring back ShotSpotter. It works, and the mayor only got rid of it to hide the amount of crime we have. And to stop the teen takeovers, we need to allow the police to call the snap curfew before they start. I'm a Democrat. Crime isn't a left versus right issue. It's driving businesses and jobs out of our city, driving up residential property taxes, and hurting Chicago's most vulnerable. I'm not another career politician. They're the ones that got us into this mess. I'm the problem solver who's going to get us out of it. There are so many issues to tackle. I want to hear what's most important to you, from you, right in your living room. If you want me there, go to my website and hit the living room button, and I will be there. I still believe Chicago can be the city that works for everyone.
So, Crom, little curveball at the end. I didn't know this. I'm a Democrat, he says.
Yeah. He's running in the primary. That's where you should run.
Well,
if you're going to win,
a Republican cannot win in Chicago.
I'm saying if you're going to win, well, he says he's a he's a Democrat who actually wants to solve crime, which makes him special,
a unicorn,
almost unique. Yes,
it makes him a unicorn.
Yeah,
because
I know of no other Democrat
who
has taken that position. I'm going to make one comment about that ad.
Yeah.
One thing that and I think safety, crime, that's a big deal, and I'm sure he'll have other ads. But Chicago, the south and west side of Chicago, there used to be five Walmarts. So the people who lived on the south side and west side had a place to go buy food and buy things. They all closed because Johnson would not help them on all the stealing that was going on.
Yeah.
And so
he favors stealing. He's a classic Democrat. He's a modern Democrat.
He's a modern Democrat, and
they're all in favor of stealing.
Yeah, but then Brandon Johnson set up a deal with a company called Save-A-Lot, and they opened 7 grocery stores. Brandon Johnson's administration gave them millions of dollars. They were supposed to have a 6-year deal. They closed all 7 stores in one weekend at the end of 2 years. And so what I'm saying is now the people on the south and the west side,
yeah,
Michael, they've got to go a long way.
Are you saying it's a food desert there?
It is a food desert, and he needs to talk about that.
Yeah. Because
Brandon Johnson is solely responsible for all of these retail stores closing in the south and west
Brandon
side.
Johnson is insane.
He is
an insane autocrat.
The problem is that he is now one of many.
Yeah.
He and Karen Bass are equally.
Michelle Wu, the crazy Wilson person in Seattle, they're all nuts.
Mamdani,
they're all nuts.
They all wish for things to happen, and then based on a wish they claim it.
Johnson has 156 police officers on his personal security.
I heard that.
156. It's crazy.
That is.
It's crazy. All right, Crom. We'll have more when we get back. We're going to get your take on the big picture from the Fauci Fifth Amendment disaster for the left yesterday in Senate hearings. Back after this with Crom Carmichael. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy.
off. This summer, the Thunder returns to Colonial Downs Racetrack. Live thoroughbred racing June 25th through September 7th. Feel the excitement. Hear the roar of the crowd. Experience Virginia's premier horse racing destination every Thursday through Sunday all summer long. Bring the whole family for Family Fun Sundays, packed with activities for all ages. Parking, free. General admission, free. Memories, priceless. Make Colonial Downs Racetrack your new summer fun time tradition. Get tickets and race day info now at colonialdowns.com.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
Bad decisions limit future options. Make enough bad decisions and you will destroy your life. Listen to The Flatline with your host, Rick Hughes, every Sunday morning on the John Fredericks Radio Network. The Flatline describes a main line of resistance in your soul, built on God's Word. Join us every Sunday morning for 30 minutes of inspiration, motivation, and education, all without manipulation. That's The Flatline with Rick Hughes, heard here every Sunday at 8:30 a.m. on the John Fredericks Radio Network.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-555-1509. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-555-1509. That's 800-555-1509. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-555-1509. 800-555-1509.
Congratulations to my friend Michael Patrick Leahy on 9 years of journalistic excellence. I'm Lenny McGill, owner and founder of the Glock Store here in Nashville, Tennessee, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy's Tennessee Star Network for over 5 years. When we started, he was on just one local station. Now, he's on 20 stations. His motto, find the truth and report it. And as long as he sticks to that, we'll stick to being a sponsor. And next year, Michael, let's have a party for you right here at the Glock Store.
I'm Brent Taylor, and I approve this message.
Brent Taylor has my complete and total endorsement. Those are the words of President Trump announcing his endorsement of Brent Taylor for Congress. President Trump can count on Brent Taylor to support the American First agenda, fighting inflation, cutting spending, deporting illegal immigrants, and protecting our conservative values. President Trump endorsed Brent Taylor for Congress. Now he needs your vote. Paid for by Brent Taylor for Tennessee.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer. 250 years ago, following an extraordinary victory that shook the globe, these newly forged Americans walked off the battlefield to create something unique in the world. A government that values individual liberty and justice. A system of laws built on limiting power and holding the mighty to account. They were young, they were bold, and together they wrote a document that changed everything. That document still stands, and 250 years later, the question remains, can we keep it? This October in Brentwood, Tennessee, students in grades 8 through 12 have a chance to answer that question and compete for a $10,000 Grand Champion Education Scholarship. More than $17,000 in education scholarships will be awarded in all. The 2026 National Constitution Bee, Saturday, October 24th, Spring Hill Suites, Marriott, Brentwood, Tennessee. Register now at nationalconstitutionbee.org. That's nationalconstitutionbee.org.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Crime Carmichael. Yesterday, the pardoned Anthony Fauci, who ran the National Infectious Disease and Allergies part of the NIH for 40 plus years, the guy who engineered the COVID lockdown, who allegedly paid for gain of function to the Wuhan lab where the COVID virus escaped from in China, allegedly, but most likely probably, was pardoned by...
Well, I don't think there's... I mean, I think they presented plenty of evidence. I guess it's alleged until you're convicted. Is that how it works?
We'll go with that.
Okay.
So he got a pardon for any crime he may have committed between 2014 and 2014.
Well, he may have gotten a pardon.
He got an auto pen.
He got an auto pen pardon.
Yeah, got an auto pen pardon.
You heard about Trump's response when he was asked.
Yeah, what did he say?
Well, Trump said, well, pardons are very, very powerful things. And he said, I understand that my understanding is that President Biden actually signed Hunter Biden's pardon.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, for a pardon to be valid, there has to be backup. So that's what I understand about pardon. So I mean, I thought that was kind of, he left a hanging chad out there.
A hanging chad.
Yes.
Very, very well done. All right, so Crom, so he goes in and he almost set a record. 111 times he took the Fifth Amendment.
Well, that's because he had 111 questions.
Right.
He could have set a record if they'd asked him more questions.
You're exactly right.
Because it would have been the same answer on every one.
But basically, and the CNN, by the way, had some guy on that said, "This is an assault on science." By the way, did you see the Babylon Bee? Science pleads the Fifth. Okay, what's the bigger picture here?
Well, here's kind of my takeaway, and the I turned it on and I watched it with the lead up, and then I watched him sit down, and I watched the whole proceedings.
The whole proceeding. You watched the whole thing.
I watched the whole thing, and there are two or three things that first of all, the Republicans who asked questions had lots and lots of documentation to support what they were saying. So their questions were not questions to find facts. They were giving facts and asking him why he lied about it in the past. And then he gave the fifth.
Right.
And I mean, and so they really went after him. But here's what absolutely shocked me. Other than Fetterman. And Fetterman didn't exactly go after.
He didn't even really ask a question. He just gave a statement.
None of the Democrats asked questions.
Yeah.
They all lifted him up like he was still this great public service scientist. And so that shocked me. I will say that when you have somebody, Anthony Fauci may be he may be the worst bureaucrat in the last 100 years. And that's
saying something.
Yes. It is. But so there's two or three takeaways for me. One was that not a single Democrat seemed to be the least bit concerned about the 1 million deaths caused by Fauci's funding of gain of function, or all of the lies that Anthony Fauci said during the about the masks, about the COVID vaccine will keep you from getting COVID. It will do all these things which it didn't do. He went after ivermectin, We now know that he went after people who disagreed with him and tried to use the government to attack them.
Right.
So Anthony Fauci is a horrible human being. Now, that part I kind of knew. This confirmed it. But the fact that not a single Democrat seems to care that a government bureaucrat would abuse power that much, I thought that I didn't think it would be as shameless as it turned out to be. So that's one takeaway. The other takeaway is this, and as the Democrats pointed out, Anthony Fauci has been a bureaucrat for 50 years.
A long time.
So let me give a kind of one of these statements, one of these truths, and that is
Hold it. Let me just set this up, ladies and gentlemen. Here is a truth from the original. Here's a brick.
This is a brick in the edifice of logic.
A brick in the edifice of logic from the original All-Star panelist, Carmichael.
And this goes back to our founding fathers and their distrust of kings, their distrust of experts. Anthony Fauci served for 50 years and accumulated so many chits and so much power that he was able to abuse it in ways that are truly extraordinary.
Yeah.
Now, and so what I'm saying is this: it's not just about Anthony Fauci. This is what bureaucrats do.
You're saying there are more than there are many Anthony Fauci.
Every single leader of the government employee unions is like Anthony Fauci. The teachers unions people do not care about the children that their teachers teach.
Yeah.
They care only about the bureaucrats in the teaching bureaucracy, and they care about the teachers who can't teach. They do not care about the teachers who do teach because they don't want to reward the teachers who do teach. And so this is what bureaucracy becomes if it gains more and more power. So that was my second takeaway. And then my third and final takeaway is...
Third and final.
Yeah. In terms of not just about Fauci, it's how the media is covering this.
Oh, my goodness.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what facts are provided to the media. Once it has a side in it, then they spike all the facts that go to disprove. You still have Scarborough is still on, Tapper is still on. All of these people,
even though all of the evidence came out that he was working with Fauci.
Yes.
On all this.
Yeah. Now the other thing is, and I guess my fourth, and this is a tiny one compared to the other three. Julia Roberts is an airhead.
Well,
because they showed
that
her
fits in the category of dog bites man.
Well, I know, but I mean, it turns out that her acting in Pretty Woman wasn't that hard.
Boom.
In terms of the intellectual side of it.
Yeah, no, I think you're right about that.
And there's so many celebrities that have to be feeling pretty stupid.
Well, I don't even know if they acknowledge their stupidity, Cron. Here's the thing.
Fair point.
Though, listen to this. So we've got this. We're not going to play the clip. I'm just going to describe it. So CNN, covering up for Anthony Fauci, brought in a doctor, and he said with a straight face, the fact that Anthony Fauci took the Fifth Amendment for 111 times is, wait for it, an assault on science. Because, Anthony Fauci is science.
Yeah,
okay. I am science.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like,
all of those things.
Yeah.
In fact, during one of the press conferences in 2022, he said that he will always be available to testify before Congress. He understands the importance of oversight. And he said, and by the way, he says, in my years, I've already testified before Congress hundreds of times. So testifying about this at any time in the future, I will be happy to do it.
We have so many clips, but we're just summarizing it right now. We've got all this clips,
but it's the Democrats' reaction to Anthony Fauci's what he did. And what he did was the evidence was presented that shows, I think, beyond a reasonable doubt, that he did fund gain of function. That is clear, and that's why. That's why he wanted the pardon back to January 1st of 2014. That came out in the hearing that he started funding gain of function in 2014.
We wonder what's next for Anthony Fauci.
Yes, I want to hear about that.
Phil Klein,
yes,
law professor, former Attorney General of the state of Kansas, will join us shortly and tell us what's next in the legal arena For Anthony Fauci. Back after this.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
I guarantee they're going to be the most comfortable pillows you'll ever own. King size only $24.98. Queen size only $19.98. Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, as low as $29.98. Lux Pierce 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept. Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. Plus, free shipping options available when you order today. So don't delay, order now.
Everybody's talking about weight loss injections because the results are so dramatic. They work by lowering blood sugar and reducing appetite. So, what if you're looking to lose weight but not interested in painful weekly injections, especially if you hear about some of those intense side effects? That's why doctors created a weight loss supplement called Lean, and the results are remarkable. The ingredients studied in Lean have been shown to lower your blood sugar, burn fat by converting it into energy, and curb your appetite and cravings, so you're not as hungry. But listen, Lean is not for the casual dieter with only a few pounds to lose. The doctors at Brickhouse Nutrition created Lean for frustrated dieters with 10 or more pounds to lose. Get started with 20% off and free rush shipping so you can add Lean to your healthy diet and exercise plan. Go to takelean.com and enter the code Godzilla for your discount. That's discount code Godzilla at takelean.com.
What happens in Virginia doesn't stay in Virginia. It influences policy and policymakers nationwide. The VirginiaStar.com shines a light on the issues in VA that become issues for the USA, with insightful commentary that gets to the fact of the matter. The VirginiaStar.com is your source of wisdom and truth, locally, statewide, and nationally. Log on today and every day. The VirginiaStar.com. The VirginiaStar.com.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
Johnny Garrett's not some out-of-touch D.C. politician. Johnny Garrett's a Tennessean, a Christian conservative, and a proud father of 3 who's sick of the far left ruining our country with their radical policies. Conservative Johnny Garrett is proudly pro-life, pro-Trump to his core, and will always put America first. In Congress, Garrett will fight to lower taxes, cut government waste, and will always back the blue and support law and order. Garrett's fought for us in Nashville, and that's what he'll do in Congress. No to biological boys playing girl sports. No to communist China buying our farmland. And no to criminal illegals invading our state. Because with Johnny Garrett, what you see is what you get. It's time to bring more Tennessee to D.C. Send Trump conservative Johnny Garrett to Congress.
I'm Johnny Garrett, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Johnny Garrett for Congress.
Only one. There is only one conservative running for State House District 65, and that's Lee Reeves. Lee Reeves is the only one who has fought to protect the unborn and defend the sanctity of life. That's why Lee Reeves has the endorsement of Tennessee Right to Life. Lee Reeves is the only one who has fought to secure your Second Amendment rights, earning the endorsement and an A+ rating from the NRA. And Lee Reeves is the only one who has fought against illegal immigration, standing firm to secure our border and protect Tennessee families. only one conservative has delivered for District 65, securing funding for Williamson County and the Mac Hatcher expansion. That's why Mayors Rogers Anderson and Ken Moore and State Senator Jack Johnson endorse Lee Reeves. There's only one conservative for State House, and that conservative is Lee Reeves. Paid for by Lee Reeves for State House, Bev Berger, Treasurer.
Hi, this is Williamson County State Senator Jack Johnson. I'd like to invite you to join me for my annual Boots and Jeans Barbecue and Beans. It's this Sunday, August 2nd at 4 o'clock, Liberty Hall at the Factory in Franklin. It's going to be a great night of barbecue, fellowship, and celebrating the conservative values that make Tennessee the best place to call home. I'm honored to be joined by an incredible lineup of conservative leaders, including Governor Bill Lee, Senator Marsha Blackburn, Congressman Tim Burchett, Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs, Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally, and Senator Brent Taylor. Whether you've attended before or this will be your first time, we'd love to have you join us. Bring your family, invite your friends, and come spend an afternoon with fellow conservatives from across Tennessee. Tickets are $50. Get yours today at johnsonfortennessee.com. That's johnsonfortennessee.com. I look forward to seeing you this Sunday at my annual Boots and Jeans Barbecue and Beans.
Paid for by Johnson for State Senate, Tommy Nelms, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
We are joined on our Zoom newsmaker line right now by one of the leading legal experts in the country, law professor and former attorney general for the state of Kansas, the one, the only, Phil Klein. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning, Michael.
Well, yesterday, Anthony Fauci almost set a record, took the Fifth Amendment before a Senate committee 111 times. Phil, is he going to face any legal consequences whatsoever?
Well, that's a broad question, Michael, and there are states now that are investigating Anthony Fauci, and I'm not sure what legal theories that they have, but they can pursue that. Of course, he is immune from civil litigation, most likely, unless there is a direct and intended harm in his conduct, and that's extraordinarily difficult to prove. His pardon eliminates any prospect of criminal liability from 2014 through his service with the government. So that's a challenge. And Congress did not exercise, it would require DOJ sign off, but the way to force him to testify is to give him what is called use immunity, in which they would not use his testimony against him, but they would preserve the right to use the evidence that they have gathered, which shows that the actions that he's taken. But of course, the pardon covers much of that. So they decided not to offer that use immunity. And I would hope that in the future, maybe we could do that, because under those circumstances, a judge would order him to testify. And if he did not testify, he could be held in contempt of court, and the court could take immediate action. But they decided not to do that, and I'm not quite sure why.
Let's talk about this, Phil, in terms of use immunity. I'm writing this book. We did the documentary on how the deep state took down Richard Nixon. And in that, the special Watergate Senate committee granted use immunity to, wait for it, John Dean. So you're saying that the committee could have, maybe probably should have, granted use immunity to Anthony Fauci. Is that what you're saying?
Well, the DOJ would have to sign off on it, and perhaps they didn't want to do that at this stage and might do it later. I'm not certain, but that's the way they could have forced him to testify. I've done that with plenty of witnesses during the years that, or those who were actually potential targets in an investigation. To forward the investigation, I would grant them use immunity, and then they were forced to testify. But that didn't happen last night. The pardon alone, the Fifth Amendment can't be pled unless a person arguably has the potential for being held or subjected to criminal liability for their statements. But Fauci has an argument that with the pardon, he could under perjury or any specific action outside that scope of the pardon. And that could have been eliminated with use immunity, I believe.
Here in studio, Phil, the original All-Star panelist, Crom Carmichael, has a question for you, Phil.
Hey, Phil. Senator Ron Johnson was interviewed after the hearing yesterday, and he said this is not over. This isn't the last time that we will be requiring Anthony Fauci to testify. He said the next time will be, and the way he described it was it would be in writing. In other words, it wouldn't be a public hearing, but he would be required in that setting to answer the questions, and if he answers the questions falsely in that setting, then he could be tried for perjury, because that would fall later than the period of the pardon.
Well, yes, and that's why he's pleading the fifth, and everybody has the right to plead the fifth. I still think that they have a difficulty in forcing him to testify unless they give him use immunity. And I don't know if they're going to be willing to do that. I'm uncertain what the thought is there in proceeding. I'm not saying that that's right. You know, it was rather extraordinarily discomforting to watch a public servant who was willing to speak to the public on the drop of a hat about important issues previously, who is unwilling to provide any transparency into his thinking and why he made the decisions that he made, which harmed Americans so significantly. That is extraordinarily disturbing. It is also very disturbing, and you brought it up, Crom. I was listening to your interview with Michael just a moment ago, in the willingness of the Democratic Party to accept this ignorance and lack of transparency and ignore the information that's brought forward, and how broken legacy media is. I just read an ABC News story about the testimony. It is offensive how biased and ignorant that testimony or that story is, ignoring the clear evidence that places Dr. Fauci in a position where he has to admit he lied to the American people, and those lies had dramatic impact on the lives of the American people. So, ABC News is ignoring that story.
Phil, let me...
I don't know if it's frightening to see this.
Let me follow up on this. So Senator Rand Paul has said the following. The committee is going to vote on passing on a recommendation to prosecute Fauci for contempt of Congress. And he says that he can send that to the Department of Justice directly from the committee. He doesn't have to go for a floor vote. He says the likelihood that it would pass in a floor vote is not as high as getting the committee to vote it out. Where will that go, in your opinion, if he takes that route, Phil Klein?
Well, the Trump administration has demonstrated a willingness in cases like this to really push hard towards prosecution. But I believe they would be in a much better position to prosecute Dr. Fauci. Actually, he would be held in contempt of court for them to offer him use immunity and not to push the definition of pardon in this fashion.
Good point. Crom, you had another question for Phil?
Yeah, Phil, I really like the way that you're thinking about how to force Fauci to either explain to tell the American people they'd been lying to him for 2 years, or to perjure himself. Why wouldn't Republicans on the committee, if they can grant him that use immunity, why wouldn't they do that?
Well, they have to have DOJ sign off, and I'm not familiar with all that the DOJ is looking at. They could be looking at information pertaining to the post-pardon conduct by Fauci. They could be cooperating with state attorneys general or prosecutors as it relates to the gathering of information about potential illegality and conduct by Dr. Fauci. They could even be developing a broader investigation into the wrongdoing and may want to offer Dr. Fauci a deal. There's a lot of reasons why you might want to hold off on that. But if we look at it in more of a vacuum, to me, use immunity yesterday made sense because that doesn't prevent them from using the other evidence to build towards a case. For example, all of those emails could be introduced with use immunity. All of the documentation and all the other evidence that might have been gathered outside of the testimony could be used. Now, having said that, you would have to deal with state prosecutions as well, or arguably he can still claim the fifth. Probably they haven't worked that far down the road. And then they might have wanted, with the potential of working with other states and so forth, other jurisdictions that might be able to prosecute even with the pardon, they might be thinking it is best to try to reveal to the American public the evidence that we currently have in a manner in which he refuses to speak. Because that sent a very, very clear message, despite ABC's denial of reality and their refusal to report what really happened. Those questions, many of them, were very factually focused. And the chairman, Mr. Paul, Congressman Rand Paul, did an excellent job.
He did.
In tone and in manner, in keeping these things properly focused and revealing how a so-called public servant served himself and refused to speak about one of the most, where government assumed more power than we have ever seen in this nation in controlling the population at the direction of one man. And Michael and Crom, that brings me to another point, which is very, very concerning to me. And that is that the American public, and many of them, were willing to buy it.
Yeah, good point.
During
Phil,
that time.
I have to tell you, and Crom, I think you'd agree, that is the best, most insightful analysis of the testimony that I've heard.
Yeah.
Well done, Phil Klein. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Michael.
All right, we'll be back with more from Crom Carmichael after this.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
This is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Soul Tea. We got a wonderful email from one of our customers up east named Joe, and here's what he had to say. I started taking Soul Tea almost out of desperation with little hope because I was resigned to the futility that although I was up to taking 2 statins a day, high cholesterol was something I just had to learn to live with. In fact, when I turned 60, after taking a stress cardio test, my doctor called me on a Saturday, which of course is never a good sign, and told me that I was clogged more than 95% of the people my age. I had an angioplasty and a stent procedure done at that time. Today, my stubborn triglycerides are only 1/3 of what they had been before starting taking Soul Tea. My prescription statin dosage has shrunk from 60 milligrams to only 10 milligrams a day. My primary care doctor that I have had for many years still can't believe the results, and neither can I. Thank you, Soul Tea, for providing such a wonderful product. And folks, I want to invite you to take care of your heart also by going to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. Use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% discount on your initial shipment. Thanks so much.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
Congratulations to my friend Michael Patrick Leahy on 9 years of journalistic excellence. I'm Lenny McGill, owner and founder of the Glock Store here in Nashville, Tennessee, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy's Tennessee Star Network for over 5 years. When we started, he was on just one local station. Now, he's on 20 stations. His motto, find the truth and report it. And as long as he sticks to that, we'll stick to being a sponsor. And next year, Michael, let's have a party for you right here at the Glock Store.
I'm Scott Desjardins, and I approve this message.
We will make America great again.
President Donald Trump has given his complete and total endorsement to Congressman Scott Desjardins, saying he fights for our military, veterans, law enforcement, and the Second Amendment.
I'm honored to be endorsed by President Trump. I know together we've got to control inflation, secure our borders, and strengthen our military.
Scott Desjardins, representing the people of the 4th Congressional District.
With your support, we will make America great again. Paid for by friends of Scott Desjardins.
I'm Brent Taylor, and I approve this message.
Brent Taylor has my complete and total endorsement. Those are the words of President Trump announcing his endorsement of Brent Taylor for Congress. President Trump can count on Brent Taylor to support the American First agenda, fighting inflation, cutting spending, deporting illegal immigrants, and protecting our conservative values. President Trump endorsed Brent Taylor for Congress. Now he needs your vote. Paid for by Brent Taylor for Tennessee.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Trump Carmichael, where should we go from here after the 111 instances of Anthony Fauci taking the Fifth Amendment before a Senate committee yesterday?
Michael, what I'm about to say is premised on what I believe is that Anthony Fauci, based on the facts that have been presented from the emails, from the record, based on all that, here's what I believe to be accurate: that Anthony Fauci funded gain-of-function research at the Wuhan lab.
Mm-hmm.
That Anthony Fauci then lied about that, and tried with Rand Paul. That he tried to claim that the virus came from the wet market when he had evidence that it didn't, that it came from the lab. There was evidence presented by apparently Dr. Birx, in a book she wrote, said that Anthony Fauci conspired with her and others to force Trump into the 15-day flatten the curve,
mm-hmm.
and then to try to shut down the country. I believe that Anthony Fauci's so-called I am science led to the destruction of hundreds of thousands of small businesses, millions of children not getting properly educated. The damage that Anthony Fauci personally caused to this country is enormous. And so what would I like to see happen? According to Phil Klein, the pardon that he has gotten gives him significant protection. The fact that he was a government employee gives him sovereign immunity. But I would still like to see a series of states investigate him, call him before grand juries, do things that causes him to be fighting legal battles, frankly, for the rest of his life. And to...
Are you suggesting lawfare? Because here's the problem with the states, okay? I understand that. But, the Attorney General, I think Utmeyer of Florida, said, we are launching an investigation into Fauci. The problem is, what is the state statute that he violated? That's going to be the problem.
Okay. what I'm saying is that I don't. What I'm saying is that Fauci did a lot of things that are wrong, that harmed the people of the state of Florida, and so investigating him, forcing him to try to answer questions, forcing him to use lawyers to try not to answer questions. In other words, I don't want this to be one state. I'd like it to be states in sequence. And so he is constantly having to write giant checks to his lawyers.
So you're
to try to protect him.
I'm not opposed to this per se, except I don't see the cause of action.
I think
I don't think an attorney general of a state should launch an investigation purely for political reasons.
This isn't. This isn't for political. No, this is not for political reasons.
Well, what is the cause of action? That's going to be the problem.
Look, you're the one who's going to night school to get a law degree.
Well, and that's exactly the level of legal advice.
And I'm saying
you're not getting right now.
I'm saying that if there is a reason, if the state can find a reason, the purpose is punishment. It's not politics. This isn't partisan to me. This is a person who abused his position of power and damaged the lives of millions and millions of Americans. I'm not talking about the million people who died. I'm talking about the long-term effects.
Shutting down businesses,
children, respiratory ailments, heart ailments, people who died because of what he tried to force on people with the mask, forcing people to take vaccines, forcing businesses and governments to fire people who refused to take the vaccine. These are all things that he did, and there's a record that he did that.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that caused harm. Now, if a bureaucrat can avoid facing justice, and I'm not trying to get him in prison, I don't care about that. I want him. He accumulated millions of dollars in his position, which to me is an abuse.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see him for the rest of his life, and I don't wish him any harm. I just want him for the rest of his life to be writing big checks to his lawyers and having to defend himself until he's run out of money. And if he dies before he runs out of money, then that's the natural. But I'd like to see him under enormous personal pressure, because I think that's justice. He ran over there and got a pardon, so he won't have to face justice.
We got an auto pen.
So, well, if that pardon stands, then he did all these terrible things, and then he raced to try to protect himself.
So here's the thing on all that.
Yep.
I will look to Attorney General Jonathan Skrmetti in Tennessee.
Okay.
Because if he thinks this is worthwhile, there will be a legal reason for it in a Tennessee state statute.
Yeah, so
we'll see.
All right.
Crom, a delight as always.
Yes.
You'll be here next Thursday?
Actually, I will not.
Are you going to be voting?
I will be. No, I will be out of town.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we will see you in 2 weeks.
Yes, you will.
All right. Up next, Clint Brewer and the South Korean pastor who was put in jail and is now out. But if he goes back, they might put him in jail again. Back after this.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cell's Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's the top news of the day. People are out there saying, oh, the Iranians are never going to live by it. But let me tell you something. President Trump is going to bomb them again if they screw around.
Hopefully they live up to it. And if not, the pounding's coming. We're going to do it again and again and again.
The Cats and Cosby Show, weekdays 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the stations of the John Fredericks Media Network.
Trump is the toughest president we ever had.
Well, he's definitely the best bomber.
John Fredericks loves his radio and TV audience, but did you know how to follow the Godzilla of Truth wherever you go? Download the John Fredericks Radio Show app to listen live nationwide. For the daily chit-chat, Trucking the Truth, download the Getter app and join the morning fun on Getter Live from 6 to 10 a.m. Follow John Fredericks on Getter, Truth Social, or Twitter at JF Radio Show.
This is WJFN Goochland, Bonaire, Chester, and WJFB Portsmouth, part of the John Fredericks Media Network.
From Town Hall, Amit Thomason. A key inflation barometer, one that is closely monitored by the Fed, has prices 3.7% higher last month compared to a year ago. Meanwhile, the American economy grew at 1.5% April to June. Wall Street is rallying this morning, taking back some of what it lost in yesterday's major sell-off. The U.S. retaliates for Iran's targeting of American troops in Jordan earlier in the week. U.S. Central Command says a number of IRG-related targets were hit overnight. Those targets reduced to rubble. And Russia unleashed a devastating overnight attack on Ukraine.
The onslaught of ballistic missiles and drones has been going on for hours. Explosions were first reported in Kyiv shortly before midnight local time. Several fires broke out, and the authorities have been urging people to remain in shelters. As the night has gone on, waves of cruise missiles and drones have been reported heading for targets across the country. First to the central cities of Dnipro and Kryvyi Rih, but soon as far west as Lviv, where 2 apartment buildings have been damaged.
The BBC's Ali McConnell. He delivered a lengthy statement, but then refused to answer any questions. Dr. Anthony Fauci appearing before a Senate panel investigating the origins of COVID-19. Fauci repeatedly took the fifth. Senator Rand Paul says Fauci owes the American people an apology for his handling of the pandemic.
Instead of an apology, you have for years avoided responsibility.
Paul raising the possibility of Fauci being held in contempt of Congress. There is progress in the battle against the raging wildfires burning across southwest France. Some 84,000 evacuees now being allowed to return to their homes. On Wall Street, stocks are higher this morning. The Dow is up 152 points. The Nasdaq 498 points higher, a gain of 2%. Townhall.com.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free, no-risk consultation. 800-292-7875. 800-292-7875. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-292-7875.
South Korean chip maker Samsung Electronics' bottom line has exploded recently, thanks in large part to the AI boom.
Samsung has said that the investments that we're seeing around the world in building AI data centers means that you need more servers, and to put inside those servers, you need chips that are made by Samsung, essentially. Net profit was up 56% compared to the previous quarter, so the first 3 months of this year. But in South Korea, we actually look at operating profit, and compared to the same 3 months a year ago, operating profit was up 1,800%. They made $62 billion in operating income in that quarter.
And that's the BBC's Maura Fogarty. Todd Blanche's nomination to become Attorney General has stalled, with lawmakers scrapping a planned committee vote. A couple of Republicans, Senators John Cornyn and Tom Tillis, still not on board. Townhall.com. A historic divinity school is offering the first doctoral degree in AI and moral agency.
At the end of the Civil War, a Union soldier and Baptist minister founded a school in Raleigh, North Carolina to provide formerly enslaved people with religious literacy. Now that same school, Shaw University, wants to provide literacy of a new kind, AI literacy. Starting next year, Shaw's Divinity School plans to offer a new degree track, a Doctor of Education in Artificial Intelligence and Moral Agency. It will become the first theological school of the Association of Theological Schools Network to offer a degree in AI on either the master's or doctoral level. Keith Peters reporting.
Microsoft has posted strong quarterly earnings, beating analyst expectations. Company earned $90 billion in the April through June quarter, up 18% from a year ago. More on these stories, townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are indeed broadcasting live from our studios in Nashville, Tennessee. Well, we're going to go more on the Anthony Fauci debacle yesterday. A couple things here. If you want to weigh in on Fauci, our phone number is 615-814-2848, 615-814-2848. We need two things. Number one, your name, and number two, the state from which you're calling, 615-814-2848. A couple things here just for your information. You can watch us live and in living color every weekday on our X account, Michael P. Leahy. You can see me there. Also, we're on YouTube. We're on Rumble. We're on what's Firestick, Roku TV, Apple TV. We're everywhere. And a programming note. Starting Monday, August 17th, the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, time will switch from our current time, 10 a.m. to noon Eastern Time, 9 a.m. to 11 Central Time. We're going to be on 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central Time. And in our stead, in this slot, 10 a.m. to noon Eastern, 9 a.m. to 11 Central, you will hear from Wendy Bell. It'll be Wendy Bell Live. She's very good, and you'll enjoy her. So that's a programming note starting August 17th here on the John Fredericks Media Network. All right, let's go back to the tape. Let's go to the tape, and let's take a look at Rand Paul, what he has in mind in the future for Anthony Fauci. Clip 4.
I myself have individually referred him in the past for prosecution. I sent 2 letters saying that he destroyed records and he lied to Congress, both felonies. I sent that to the Biden DOJ. It wasn't acted upon. I've also sent it to the Trump DOJ twice. I've sent information and evidence saying it did so. So I think there's a possibility that we don't go to the whole Senate floor, but that the committee passes it and we go directly to the Department of Justice.
Okay. I think that just might happen. Now, let's take a look at what CNN had to say about this. Clip 10.
So, Dr. Edson, obviously there are a lot of questions about COVID-19. Did you find any of this enlightening, questions or lack of answers?
Well, look, in reality, right, public service and public servants should be respected. Everyone who was in that hearing and meeting room. But what's happened is this is an assault on science and scientists. And unfortunately, Dr. Fauci is in that seat. 38 years of service to the country, one of the best-known scientists for infectious disease, unfortunately has taken a lot of heat for probably a lot of, shall we say, issues that were not fully his. He didn't make all the decisions that drove the COVID pandemic, but you are right that he is one of the most respected scientists and should be respected in that same sort of way. Today, we certainly didn't learn anything from the way the hearing was held.
So,
okay. Really? Are you kidding me? That is just crazy. Ron Johnson had a very different view on this. Clip 8. Let's see what Senator Ron Johnson had to say.
Senator, it was frustrating sitting there watching Fauci just plead the fifth. It was what I predicted. But at this point, what can be done given the fact that a lot of people are still suffering from what they believe are adverse effects of this experimental shot.
We need to get our federal health agencies to admit that the vaccine or the injection injuries are real so that they can be treated. It's been 5.5 years, and they still have not acknowledged that fact. I mean, we issued our report on April 29th showing that Peter Marks knew that their algorithm was going to hide safety signals. He was showing dozens of safety signals, including sudden cardiac death, pulmonary infarction, which, by the way, Fauci suffered from in June of 2021. Plus, he got COVID a couple times after all the injections and boosters that he got. So again, we need the federal health officials to come clean, and that's why I'm doing my investigation. You know, we've uncovered this. Legacy news media, not one news outlet has covered this as news. I've been interviewed on shows like this, but not a newspaper or a major broadcast station has covered our bombshell report, the greatest government scandal of my lifetime. They've not covered it as news. So it starts with acknowledging the fact that these injections cause death, they cause injury, so that these people can be treated.
Victor Davis Hanson had a few things to say about Fauci. Listen to this, clip 6.
So I watched Anthony Fauci before Congress. He did a funny thing. He gave a statement blasting his critics, and then he gave them no chance to reply.
Given Senator Paul's obvious obsession with calling for my prosecution, his repeated slanderous comments about me, and recently his publicly releasing my unredacted personal diary aimed at embarrassing and intimidating me, the only conclusion I can reach is that the sole reason he is calling me before this committee is to get me to say something, anything, that could vindicate his repeated public pledges that I end up, in his words, quote, behind bars, unquote.
In other words, while he was under oath and subpoena, he followed the subpoena, he gave his opening statement, but then he said this is going to be a one-way hearing because every single question, and I stopped watching at 90 invocations of the Fifth Amendment. He pled the Fifth Amendment.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Yeah, well, silence is admission.
Think of the precedent that establishes. Congress wants to find out, wants to investigate, subpoena somebody. If you don't go, you're going to go to jail if you're Steve Bannon or Peter Navarro. But if you're Anthony Fauci, as in the case of left-wing Lois Lerner, you just blast everybody and then you shut up and hide behind the Fifth Amendment and make a mockery while the Democratic senators walk out and try to ruin the entire inquiry. But what was the inquiry about? Remember, we talked about that. 1,100 pages that, in his arrogance, he kept a diary. And in the diary, he admitted to things, or he confessed things that were absolutely contrary to his public policies and his positions on everything from masks to shutdowns to quarantines to vaccinations to the role of Scott Atlas in the White House to Donald Trump.
It's a long litany of things. Now, what can be done? Well, we talked about this with Crom in the previous hour. The states can take a look at it. And, Governor Ron DeSantis down in Florida had a few things to say about that and what his attorney general may be doing. Let's play this clip 7. Ron DeSantis talking about the state attorney general investigation in Florida of Anthony Fauci.
Pardon? I think it was probably, but I think it likely would hold up in court. And so he has to cooperate, just as Senator Paul said. Conduct, and the pardon would cover him. So he has to cooperate with the committee. Now, on the state, the Attorney General of Florida has an investigation into Fauci. I would love to see something happen there. The reality is a federal official has a lot to go if they're dragged into state court, and in fact, he could probably remove it to federal court. So we'll see how that plays out. I hope that there's accountability. I wish that it had happened sooner, because I think that a lot of the things we've seen in those diaries, it validated what a lot of us already knew.
So what DeSantis said there is, let's say a state were to come in and say there's some kind of state law that he violated. Okay, and they file an action against him in state court. Governor DeSantis is absolutely correct. As the defendant, Fauci could remove that to federal court. Twist, however. The court would have to apply state law in that instance, and that might be a bit of a problem for Anthony Fauci. We'll see what the state law is. When we come back, we'll have more. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy. Back after this.
Ponder this. I was a crew member of a sailboat racing team. I should tell you that I never really developed sea legs, so my contributions to the team left a little to be desired. As I recall, on one racing day, the captain put me at the helm. He must have been desperate. During the race, a strong gust of wind came up suddenly. The boat heeled dramatically. I panicked and let go of the helm for fear of being tossed overboard and lost at sea forever. Thank the Lord for the keel, a heavy fin at the bottom of the boat that rights the boat during heavy winds. It remains unseen under the water, but it is a powerful stabilizer during the rough weather. You know, the Lord is like a keel in life. If we turn to Him, especially during turbulent times, He will always guide us to safety. He provides us with stability during rough times in our life if we reach out to Him and ask for help. Run to the Lord in prayer and trust that He will lead you to calmer waters. I'm Susie Kelly, and I am passionately Catholic.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are a $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your SatPhone. Call now.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
Trouble getting to sleep and staying asleep is infuriating. Your mind races, you toss and turn. Nutrition company Healthy Cell created REM sleep to help you quickly fall asleep, stay asleep, and sleep deep. Unlike other supplements that don't work, REM sleep is not a pill. It's a gel you swallow with ultra absorption of science-backed ingredients supporting all 4 stages of sleep. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order. Risk-free. Love it or your money back. Guaranteed. Healthycell.com. Code GODZILLA.
Congratulations to my friend Michael Patrick Leahy on 9 years of journalistic excellence. I'm Lenny McGill, owner and founder of the Glock Store here in Nashville, Tennessee, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy's Tennessee Star Network for over 5 years. When we started, he was on just one local station. Now, he's on 20 stations. His motto, find the truth and report it. And as long as he sticks to that, we'll stick to being a sponsor. And next year, Michael, let's have a party for you right here at the Glock Store.
I'm Scott Desjardins, and I approve this message.
We will make America great again.
President Donald Trump has given his complete and total endorsement to Congressman Scott DesJarlais, saying he fights for our military, veterans, law enforcement, and the Second Amendment.
I'm honored to be endorsed by President Trump. I know together we've got to control inflation, secure our borders, and strengthen our military.
Scott DesJarlais, representing the people of the 4th Congressional District.
With your support, we will make America great again. Paid for by friends of Scott DesJarlais.
Honesty, integrity, help Tennessee, MarkPody.com.
The values that have made Tennessee strong, faith, personal responsibility, freedom, and respect for one another are rooted in timeless godly principles. Those values are worth protecting, and I'm going to continue fighting to preserve them for our children and grandchildren. I'm Mark Pody, and I'd be honored to earn your vote again.
MarkPody.com.
Paid for by the campaign trail like Mark Pody.
Candace Graham, Treasurer.
Johnny Garrett's not some out-of-touch D.C. politician. Johnny Garrett's a Tennessean, a Christian conservative, and a proud father of 3 who's sick of the far left ruining our country with their radical policies. Conservative Johnny Garrett is proudly pro-life, pro-Trump to his core, and will always put America first. In Congress, Garrett will fight to lower taxes, cut government waste, and will always back the blue and support law and order. Garrett's fought for us in Nashville, and that's what he'll do in Congress. No to biological boys playing girl sports. No to communist China buying our farmland. And no to criminal illegals invading our state. Because with Johnny Garrett, what you see is what you get. It's time to bring more Tennessee to D.C. Send Trump conservative Johnny Garrett to Congress.
I'm Johnny Garrett, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Johnny Garrett for Congress.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are indeed broadcasting live from our studios in downtown Nashville. Here in studio, the one, the only Clint Brewer. Clint, how you doing?
I'm all right, Mike. How are you?
Kind of a weird time in American history, isn't it?
It's been a weird time in American history for a while.
It's getting weirder.
It's there's some strangeness out there, you know.
What's your reaction to the Fauci debacle?
I think the best part for me was watching the old David Chappelle show clip where he takes the fifth in front of Congress or the courts. I mean, you know, it's become a meme, but I don't know, unexpected. You know, I mean, I think that's about what you were going to get, right? I mean, he's got this pardon, which really should alleviate him from having to take the fifth.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know that it alleviates him from contempt of Congress.
Yeah, I mean, I think Rand Paul's going to work on that, you know.
Yeah, I think so. It was I don't know how to say it, shocking but not unexpected. Shocking to see it happen live, but it was telling.
As a communications professional, given the fact that he was going to take the fifth as many times as he did, how would you rate the performance of Anthony Fauci?
I guess, you know, I think he, given that was his plan, I think it was probably as well as it could have been done. I think they should have been putting that out well in advance. I think they should have laid the groundwork for it.
I'm going to take the fifth.
Yeah, I mean, I think a statement from his lawyer saying, look, we don't have a lot of options here but to take the Fifth Amendment. We don't trust the process. We don't think this is
that would have made sense.
Fair hearing. Well, and instead you had this bombastic lawyer trying to disrupt the proceedings and interject.
Didn't go well.
Well, look, you can have your own feelings about Senator Paul, about the proceedings. You can have your own feelings about Dr. Fauci, and you can land on either side of the political aisle, but that's just not how you behave in a Senate hearing.
Yeah. No, it's not at all. Also, now, how would you rate the communication style? Let's start off with Rand Paul's style.
I thought he did a good job.
I thought he was very steady.
I thought he did a good job. I thought he handled Dr. Fauci's lawyer really well. He didn't lose his temper, but he was
Sir,
firm. Yes.
You are not, your role here is not to testify. We've explained that to you. He was very calm.
He was very calm. He was very matter of fact. He gave the guy multiple chances. That attorney is a well-known player on the Hill. He's been involved in a number of things on the Democratic side of the aisle for these kind of testimonies and proceedings. And, that just doesn't play in a Senate hearing. And I thought Senator Paul did a really good job staying calm, being firm, giving the guy chances to sit there quietly, and then when he wouldn't, he had him removed. And doesn't really matter whether Republicans are in power or Democrats are in power. You have to respect the proceedings, and that gentleman just wasn't.
As a communications expert, let's say Senator Bernie Moreno from Ohio came to you and said, hey, Clint, should I publicly drop an F-bomb in my questioning which he did, by the way.
Yes.
Of Anthony Fauci. What advice would you have given him?
Maybe dial that back a bit.
Hold it. That's such classic Clint Brewer, steady.
I get it.
Dial that back a bit.
Look, there's a lot of emotion.
Yeah.
There's a lot of outrage. I think the release of Dr. Fauci's personal journals probably fanned the flames of that. Not a good look for Fauci.
Oh, no.
They
love me. They really love me.
Well, why does one keep a journal at all during a period like that?
But let's just stop for a moment. You got to be an egomaniac to keep a journal, because the last thing on earth that you would want to do, he kept the journal on a public, on a government-owned computer.
Yeah.
Because he knew that would be discoverable.
Well, and
Crazy.
I think that gives you, not just with Fauci, but with the bureaucracy sort of writ large, what the mindset is in government, and they view themselves as not necessarily just public servants, but central players to history, even though their names have never been on a ballot. I think that gives you a little bit of the mindset that we're dealing with here, and the egos that can be behind these bureaucrats and their roles and how they view their roles. I think to me, just the revelation of the mindset, being obsessed with his media coverage, being obsessed with who wants to talk to him and how he's being reviewed, and tracking it and talking about it to himself. Look, journaling is a pretty well accepted, healthy thing to do for most people, even just in their private lives. It can be helpful to reconcile feelings and context, and lots of people do it. But when you're in the middle of what is supposed to have been the greatest health crisis of our generation, on a par with smallpox, malaria, I don't know that taking the time to jot down your personal reflections on your media coverage is really...
Or the particular health problems of Barbara Streisand. Did you see that?
Yeah,
it was weird.
Yeah, there's...
I'm not even going to say what it was, but it's embarrassing.
Yeah, there's a very rude term that I won't say on this family radio show about what Fauci appears to have been, but it starts with the word star, and the second word begins with the word F, and and he just seems to glom on to celebrity, whether that's Barbara Streisand or a journalist.
Okay, here's the big question, because I have an answer, and I'd like to know yours. Other than Rand Paul, which senator's inquisition style was best?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure I retained enough of it to give you an honest answer there.
I thought they were all good, but the best I thought was Josh Hawley.
Yeah, I did catch a little bit of that. I don't have the full context for all of them. Hawley's, you got to remember, he's an attorney.
Attorney General of former Attorney General of Missouri,
and he was a really good one. And,
really good.
And again, I mean, for people who maybe are on the other side of the aisle and don't agree with this whole thing, I mean, you have to give some credit to the skill of the people doing the questioning.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it had been on the House side, I think it would have been even more bombastic. But
it was bombastic and yet effective.
I mean, other than the F-bomb, I think everybody acquitted themselves well.
Okay, so Clint, if you can stick around here, we're going to do something very different here. We're going to bring in 3 microphones. We're going to have 5 people at the table.
All right.
You and I, because we're such close friends, we're going to share a microphone.
Okay.
We're bringing in...
It's like a duet.
It'll be a duet of questioning. Our guest is Pastor Son Hyung Bo, who was imprisoned in South Korea just recently. Charlie Kirk went to visit him in South Korea a couple weeks before he died. Why was he in prison? And why, when he goes back, is he going to be imprisoned again? And Pastor Rob McCoy will join us as well. Back after this.
Folks, this is Crime Carmichael, CEO of Soul Tea. I have recently turned 77 years old. I do not take prescription drugs. I have not had to take prescription drugs, and I attribute a lot of my good health to a product that I've been taking, which is the active ingredient in Soul Tea. It's a 22% concentration of theaflavin. We did clinical trials on it 25 years ago and found that it helped lower cholesterol. We have had many, many hundreds of letters and emails from customers telling us how it has helped them not only manage their cholesterol, but lower their triglycerides and help them on their blood pressure. And I can't tell you how much I attribute to Soul Tea for my good health at age 77. And I encourage you to go to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. And use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% off on your initial shipment of Soul Tea. And I promise you it will be a great help for your heart health. Thanks so much.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
And they're off. This summer, the Thunder returns to Colonial Downs Racetrack. Live thoroughbred racing June 25th through September 7th. Feel the excitement. Hear the roar of the crowd. Experience Virginia's premier horse racing destination every Thursday through Sunday all summer long. Bring the whole family for Family Fun Sundays, packed with activities for all ages. Parking, free. General admission, free. Memories, priceless. Make Colonial Downs Racetrack your new summer fun time tradition. Get tickets and race day info now at colonialdowns.com.
Bad decisions limit future options. Make enough bad decisions and you will destroy your life. Listen to The Flatline with your host, Rick Hughes, every Sunday morning on the John Fredericks Radio Network. The Flatline describes a main line of resistance in your soul, built on God's Word. Join us every Sunday morning for 30 minutes of inspiration, motivation, and education, all without manipulation. That's The Flatline with Rick Hughes, heard here every Sunday at 8:30 a.m. on the John Fredericks Radio Network.
250 years ago, following an extraordinary victory that shook the globe, these newly forged Americans walked off the battlefield to create something unique in the world, A government that values individual liberty and justice. A system of laws built on limiting power and holding the mighty to account. They were young, they were bold, and together they wrote a document that changed everything. That document still stands, and 250 years later, the question remains, can we keep it? This October in Brentwood, Tennessee, students in grades 8 through 12 have a chance to answer that question and compete for a $10,000 Grand Champion Education Scholarship. More than $17,000 in education scholarships will be awarded in all. The 2026 National Constitution Bee, Saturday, October 24th, Spring Hill Suites, Marriott, Brentwood, Tennessee. Register now at nationalconstitutionbee.org. That's nationalconstitutionbee.org.
Only one. There is only one conservative running for State House District 65, and that's Lee Reeves. Lee Reeves is the only one who has fought to protect the unborn and defend the sanctity of life. That's why Lee Reeves has the endorsement of Tennessee Right to Life. Lee Reeves is the only one who has fought to secure your Second Amendment rights, earning the endorsement and an A+ rating from the NRA. And Lee Reeves is the only one who has fought against illegal immigration, standing firm to secure our border and protect Tennessee families. Only one conservative has delivered for District 65, securing funding for Williamson County and the Mac Hatcher expansion. That's why Mayors Rogers Anderson and Ken Moore and State Senator Jack Johnson endorse Lee Reeves. There's only one conservative for State House, and that conservative is Lee Reeves. Paid for by Lee Reeves for State House, Bev Berger, Treasurer.
Hi, this is Williamson County State Senator Jack Johnson. I'd like to invite you to join me for my annual Boots and Jeans Barbecue and Beans. It's this Sunday, August 2nd at 4 o'clock, Liberty Hall at the Factory in Franklin. It's going to be a great night of barbecue, fellowship, and celebrating the conservative values that make Tennessee the best place to call home. I'm honored to be joined by an incredible lineup of conservative leaders, including Governor Bill Lee, Senator Marsha Blackburn, Congressman Tim Burchett, Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs, Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally, and Senator Brent Taylor. Whether you've attended before or this will be your first time, we'd love to have you join us. Bring your family, invite your friends, and come spend an afternoon with fellow conservatives from across Tennessee. Tickets are $50. Get yours today at johnsonfortennessee.com. That's johnsonfortennessee.com. I look forward to seeing you this Sunday at my annual Boots and Jeans Barbecue and Beans.
Paid for by Johnson for State Senate, Tommy Nelms, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are setting a record on the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. First time around the table, we have 5 guests. Count them 5. 3 microphones, 5 guests. And we're starting off right now with Pastor Rob McCoy. Rob, tell us briefly your background and who you've brought into the studio with us today.
Thanks, Michael. Well, I'm a 25-year senior pastor at Godspeed Calvary Chapel in Thousand Oaks, California. And July I became pastor emeritus. I was also the mayor of the city of Thousand Oaks, and a lot of people know me as Charlie Kirk's pastor.
So when you say Charlie Kirk's pastor, what exactly did that mean?
Well, he was never in church. He was a terrible congregant. He was on the road 320 days a year. But Charlie called me his pastor, and he made a point of doing that simply because ours was the first church he ever spoke in. He didn't think that the church wanted him because he was too political. And I said, Charlie, that's right where you're supposed to be, because at the time I was the senior pastor and the mayor of the city of Thousand Oaks.
So let's talk about this. People may be familiar with. A couple weeks before Charlie was assassinated.
Yes.
He went to South Korea. Did you go with him?
I did. As a matter of fact, I invited him. I had been there 4 years earlier, and it was probably my 5th trip for an organization called Build Up Korea, which is the equivalent of Turning Point USA, but it was in Korea, a young conservative youth movement. And I had invited Charlie to come out. And Charlie's not a guy who likes to leave the U.S. He went to England for the Oxford debates once and mopped the floor with the petulant British children. And then
petulant British children.
If you see
Clint, as a phrase maker, that's an excellent phrase, isn't it?
I think you might extend that phrase to the rest of the British Parliament.
From your lips to God's ears. So I invited Charlie to come, and I told him about a man I had met the first time I'd come in and become a close friend, Pastor Son, who pastors the largest church in Busan. And Charlie came, and I was shocked. And that was 4 days before he was murdered. And
So he was in South Korea with you?
With me.
Did you fly with him?
He came
Or did
later.
He met you there?
I picked him up at the Seoul airport early in the morning, and then he wanted to stop before we got to the venue. The sun was just rising, and he really wanted to stop at the park that honored General MacArthur because his son is named MacArthur, and it was a hero of Charlie's. So that was precious. And then we got to the venue, introduced, and at the time they were preparing. This was a brand new administration. South Korean. They took the previous president, put him in jail, and this is a socialist president, very anti-religious. The day of the election, right when it was certified, they raided Pastor Sohn's church and a number of other churches. Korea has the largest Christian population of any Asian nation. A third of their population is Christian, nation of 59 million. So I introduced him to Pastor Sohn. Pastor Sohn said, it's likely I'm going to be arrested by this government. And I'll never forget what Charlie said. He said, I can't make promises on behalf of my government, but if you're arrested, I'll do everything in my power to get you out. And we finished our time there, went back to the States. Monday when we landed, we got word that Pastor Sohn had been arrested.
So hold it. You land Monday.
Monday.
Pastor Sohn was arrested. And he's here in studio with us right now.
Yeah, I'll fill you in on how that happened and what's about to happen.
What were the charges against Pastor Sohn?
So in South Korea, they have a very similar constitution in the United States. Their founding president, Syngman Rhee, was educated by Christian missionaries and then came to the United States. Half of the founders of South Korea's republic were all educated and took extensive courses on our Constitution, our Declaration of Independence, and went back and applied it. And if you see General Ridgway's Why We Fight after the Korean War, it was all about modeling our republic in the same thing in South Korea. So they have a strong stance on the freedom of religion. And what's happened with this new president is similar to what they did with the first 16 words of the First Amendment. They turned it into not freedom of religion, but freedom from religion. And they came after the churches because they want to implement. He's pro-Chinese. He's pro-North Korean.
The socialist.
This current president.
How'd that happen, by the way?
While everyone was sleeping. It's a lot like Hemingway and The Sun Also Rises, where it happened gradually, then suddenly. So Charlie said on Monday, get me the arrest order, all the information. I'm going to call up the food chain, get eyes on this, and we'll feature him on my podcast on Thursday. And we were all set to go, and as you know, he was murdered Wednesday. So I made a promise to my friend, and I went and visited Pastor Sohn in prison.
What was that like?
They kept him 5 months in solitary confinement, 3x7 cell. We got to meet behind thick plexiglass. It was Mrs. Sohn, his son Chance, who's with us here on the table, and myself, and Pastor Sohn on the other side, also Pastor Stephen Martin from Texas. And it was just a time of encouragement. And the man he's fearless. If you cut him, he doesn't bleed blood. It's steel in his veins. And he just stood in opposition. And then when we got back to the States, we started making calls. We were able, through so many people helping, to have the Vice President of the United States bring up his name to the President of Korea when he came. And shortly thereafter, Pastor Sohn was released. Now they want to put him back in prison in September. And I was over there celebrating his release, and when I heard news of that, I said, let's take 3 weeks and come to the States and get eyes and ears on this and try to meet with some officials.
So let's talk about the charge. What was he charged with? Was he tried by a jury?
So it's a kangaroo court over there. It's like Alan Dershowitz that he says a death blow to any republic is the packing of the Supreme Court. They've done that in South Korea. The charge was simply this: words. He would give the platform of both of the candidates and say, this follows our biblical values, this candidate does. They considered that an endorsement, which they decided is a violation of what they've now made freedom from religion.
When did he say this? In a church service?
So he did it in a church service, but more importantly, it was one of the craziest things is one of their elders who's also facing imprisonment did it in a prayer service. He prayed. So you're praying, and those words are enough to put you in prison.
Also see Pastor about,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So it was charged on 12 charges. He was indicted on 12 charges. And in Korean election law, you're not allowed to elect legally electionary. However, because he just asked simple questions about the candidate's views on LGBT law and also school choice, because of the questions and because of the words that he spoke from the pulpit, criticizing the anti-biblical policies and legislation, he was indicted and he was arrested without conviction, without bail.
Yeah.
So, okay, so when did he say these things, Chance?
언제 그런 말씀하셨는지. The exact the questions that he had for the candidate was last year April, 2 weeks before the election, and it was before the election period. However, they still took that period as illegally electioneering.
When exactly was he indicted and arrested?
언제 기소가 됐었죠, 아버지가?
September 8th?
작년 한 4월
그때 기소. So he was indicted right away. However, he was arrested in September.
Okay, so he's arrested in September.
September 8th, yeah.
What is the legal system? What's the process you go through when you're arrested for alleged violation of election law, I guess? Right?
Yeah, they would limit his visitors, even his attorneys. They just kept him in solitary confinement. It's a kangaroo court.
I know, but where did they? So he's arrested. He's in solitary confinement. Where does the trial take place? And how many? Is there a judge? Is there a jury?
We don't have a jury system in Korea. However, we do have a judge, and he was arrested because the arrest warrant that the prosecutor filed was accepted by the judge because there was a risk of flight for him, which was absurd as well. Because my father, even without taking a sabbatical, stayed in the same place, lived in the same place for the last 33 years, ministering the same community, and they were just coming up with the absurd reason.
As he's awaiting trial, he's in solitary confinement. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And so here he is in solitary confinement. How long did the trial take? Did he have counsel representing him? And how many days did the trial take?
The first hearing actually took place after around 40 days, which was also delayed after the arrest. And the first hearing actually ended in 15 minutes because the prosecutors were too busy preparing for the court hearing. And the judge was, of course, on their side as well. And they said, "Oh, I know you guys are busy." And the second hearing happened around 30 days later, and the 3차 공판도 있었나요? 아니면 3차 공판이
지금 2차 하고 있지.
아니요. 처음에 갇혔었을 때.
그때
There's live interpretation right here.
Yeah, live and in living color.
There you go.
아니 1차 공판, 2차 공판, 3차 공판도 있었나요?
아니 재판을 받지 않고.
Got a minute left.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, so first hearing, second hearing, and also the trial happened. So there was around like a month or a month and a half in between the hearings. And the first hearing had a lot of, it ended in 50 minutes. And second hearing, the judge was portraying my father as like a betrayal.
Okay, so the judge was basically a prosecuting attorney.
Basically.
And then he convicted him, and the sentence was how long, a year?
Well, they put him in for 5 months and then let him out after.
But what's the sentence?
Yeah, what was the sentence?
It was 1 year probation and 6 month imprisonment.
Got it. Okay.
So he's technically on probation right now.
When we come back, we'll have more with Pastor Son, who was in prison for 5 months and is here in the United States to talk about liberty and the problems going on with the socialist head of South Korea right now. Back after this.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are a $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your sat phone. Call now.
Learning is tough enough, but big tech engineered distractions that make it even harder for kids to focus.
Conservative Marsha Blackburn. When no one else would, she took on big tech to protect our kids from dangerous content. Now she's fighting to take back our classrooms.
My plan? Bell to bell, no cell.
As our next governor, Marsha Blackburn will eliminate cell phones in the classroom to help move Tennessee students from distractions to success. She'll take away the bureaucratic barriers holding back our schools and give teachers and students the help they need to make Tennessee education the envy of the country. Conservative Marsha Blackburn. Trump trusted Tennessee first.
No more posting, no scrolling. Here in Tennessee schools, we're going to learn.
Standing up for our kids, fighting for Tennessee. Marsha Blackburn for governor. Paid for and authorized by Marsha for Governor, Treasurer Glenn Jacobs.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
I guarantee they're going to be the most comfortable pillows you'll ever own. King size only $24.98, queen size only $19.98. Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, as low as $29.98. Lux Pier 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept. Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. Plus free shipping options available when you order today. So don't delay, order now.
I'm Brent Taylor, and I approve this message.
Brent Taylor has my complete and total endorsement. Those are the words of President Trump announcing his endorsement of Brent Taylor for Congress. President Trump can count on Brent Taylor to support the American First agenda, fighting inflation, cutting spending, deporting illegal immigrants, and protecting our conservative values. President Trump endorsed Brent Taylor for Congress. Now he needs your vote. Paid for by Brent Taylor for Tennessee.
Johnny Garrett's not some out-of-touch D.C. politician. Johnny Garrett's a Tennessean, a Christian conservative, and a proud father of three who's sick of the far left ruining our country with their radical policies. Conservative Johnny Garrett is proudly pro-life, pro-Trump to his core, and will always put America first. In Congress, Garrett will fight to lower taxes, cut government waste, and will always back the blue and support law and order. Garrett's fought for us in Nashville, and that's what he'll do in Congress. No to biological boys playing girl sports. No to communist China buying our farmland. And no to criminal illegals invading our state. Because with Johnny Garrett, what you see is what you get. It's time to bring more Tennessee to D.C. Send Trump conservative Johnny Garrett to Congress.
I'm Johnny Garrett, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Johnny Garrett for Congress.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. Our guest, Pastor Sun Hyung Bo, who was imprisoned in South Korea and who met with Charlie Kirk just a couple days in South Korea before Charlie was assassinated, his son, Chance, and Pastor Rob McCoy. Clint Brewer, our public affairs specialist, all-star panelist, has a question for you.
So I guess my question, in the U.S., if there are allegations of campaign election violations, it's a civil penalty.
Right.
Right. In South Korea now, it's a criminal case. I guess just for listeners here, what has the mood been like in South Korea after this prosecution, and how have Christians reacted in South Korea to this activity against the pastor?
Clint, that's a great question. So the Build Up Korea event with Mina Kim, she had all the funding established and to bring Charlie out and a number of speakers. And when this new administration comes in, starts cracking down, raiding churches, and threatening to arrest Pastor Son, all of the funding dried up, and it was coming from conservatives and Christians and also churches because they were afraid they'd be the next to be consumed. And so fear just enveloped many of the churches, with the exception of Pastor Sohn and a handful of smaller churches. And then when he was imprisoned, it was fearful across the country. But since the rally and a number of other things, churches have started to come.
Let's take
stronger.
a picture. We have an image of a rally. Let's take a look at that image right now.
This is epic.
A huge rally there. And Chance, our translator and son of Pastor Son, tell us about that rally.
So in 2024, the Supreme Court in South Korea have accepted the health benefit for the same-sex couple. And what my father witnessed from the Western countries is that was the gateway for the LGBT agenda coming in, flooding in. And my father held a rally. He would go to denomination meetings, and all the churches in Korea tearing up, crying for help, and also support for this cause. And he started this mobilization and rally, and there was a 1.1 million people gathered in center of Seoul from all over the country, and another million online, worshiping God and opposing this.
So there's political support for Pastor Son. Rob McCoy, Pastor Rob McCoy, what is it that you want to accomplish in the couple weeks here that Pastor Son is here in the United States?
Thanks, Michael. Yeah, what we want to do is we're going to churches, we're getting on radio shows, podcasts, getting the word out of what's happening in Korea. Chinese now can come without a visa. If they're there 4 months in certain provinces, they have the ability to vote. We're losing South Korea to the communist Chinese, and Pastor Sohn is standing in the gap. They want to rearrest him in September, so we brought him to the States to get political support and Christians to back it.
Can I get a question directly to the pastor through his son? So, Pastor, what has your message been to your congregation and to the Christians of South Korea in light of these events? Christianity is often a resistance to government and has been since the Romans.
종교의 자유는 우리가 지켜야 되는 거고 우리가 지키지 못하면 우리가 노예가 될 것이다. 이런 것들을 계속적으로 강조해 왔습니다.
I've always emphasized and also preached about how important securing, guarding our freedom is, and if not, the freedom will be taken away and slipped away.
목사가 하는 말이 제재를 받고 법의 제촉이 된다고 해서 기소를 당하는 이런 나라를 두면은 모든 사람의 자유가 상실될 것이다.
Then it can be easily done if the pastors, the words from the pulpit and pastors are being regulated and being prohibited by the law. When pastors want to speak out, and if they're regulated, that it's going to be a big problem, and how we are being enslaved by the government.
자유를 위해서 누군가가 희생해야 된다면 우리가 희생해야 된다.
If there is anyone that has to make sacrifices for freedom, it has to be us, the Christians, and also Christian conservatives.
이런 일들을 위해서 우리 교인들은 늘 함께 기도해 왔고 하나된 마음으로 살아왔습니다.
And we have become one as a family together and been speaking out, and also speaking out as a congregation.
So, from a spiritual standpoint, how have you advised your congregation to view their country? How have you advised your congregation to view this struggle and engage in it?
성경의 가치를 지키지 못하면은 우리는 살아갈 별 의미가 없는 것이고.
There's not so much of a so it's really important to protect and also to speak out for the biblical principles and values.
And on that note, we've set a couple records here. First, let me thank you for your courage, Pastor Son, and thank you, Rob, for supporting him. We've set a couple records here today. This is the first time we've had 5 people around the table. And congratulations, this is the first time anybody on the Michael Patrick Leahy Show has spoken in Korean. That's it for our show today. Wow, what a show. We'll be back tomorrow morning, same time, same place. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy. The website, TennesseeStar.com, TennesseeStar.com. Rob Carson is up next.
The Truth with John Gordon.
A strong argument can be made that we need a certain number of illegal immigrants to work menial and in some cases dangerous jobs.
Get all the truth you can handle and more.
Immigrants seem willing to do those jobs. American workers do not. What? I'm sorry, I just call them like I see them, folks.
Saturday, noon Eastern, 11 Central, on the stations of the John Fredericks Media Network.
I tell you the truth as best I know it.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited.